Hello everyone, my name's Taff. How I'm known by my local support. That's Newport County. That's the team who I support. And today, I usually do blogs on County. I do a weekly one. I do the odd thing where I talk about issues in football and problems surrounding football. I'm going to hit the nail on the head today and just come out with what I think is the problems, all the problems that we've got with football today, because we all know we've got some major issues. We're going to start with the fact that it's quite obviously money orientated. It doesn't seem to be about winning trophies anymore. It all seems to be about winning money, prioritizing competitions because there's more money in that competition rather than obviously trying to win trophies, which is football is all about winning. It's a sport. It's not a business. It's not an enterprise. It's something. It's a sport. It's a competitive sport where people are supposed to want to win everything. You know, and I find it shocking. Obviously the fact that Europa League, Tottenham recently, for example, putting out a weak team against Dortmund. I mean, Dortmund one of the best teams in Europe. You think all those players wanted to put out their weak team to play, to test their club against Dortmund? No, the fans didn't want that either. I mean, obviously you want to prioritise, but what's the point on getting a squad? You know, well, you can say obviously they tried utilising their squad really, but it didn't work for them, did it? At the end of the day, the bigger teams, you got to play your better players. These guys are fit. They're fit. They're athletes. They're meant to do this. Every couple of days, it doesn't matter. They're meant to be able to do this. I know footballers, they get tired. 90 minutes of football is rough. I used to play football myself, so I know exactly what it's like to have to play football. I know you ache through the week, but the thing is, I was just, a moderately overweight teenager, running up and down a football pitch, and I did no training in the week prior to it. I just went out, turned up, threw on my dirty old boots and got on with it. These guys are super fit. They do this for a living. Can't see any reason why players should be pampered so much. But no, that was just an example. But here's another example for you. Before the season, if you told Man City fans, you're gonna have not much chance of winning the Premier League. Be in a position where you're X amount of points away from top, but then at the same time you crash out the FA Cup because you fielded a crap team, and it was a crap team away to Chelsea. But then you'd win the League Cup at the beginning of the season. Think, oh, that sounds crap, but they weren't half happy when they won it, weren't they? Man City fans would think they won the bloody World Cup or something, But it just goes to show that winning trophies is a big thing, no matter what trophy it is. I think one of the things, if you've been watching anything that I've done, obviously I go on about supporting your local team, which is exactly what I do with Newport County. Tourism over local support. Too many small teams are suffering because their local community would rather go and put their money into somebody else's team. They buy the Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea shirt every year and go and watch 2 or 3 games and call themselves a diehard fan. You can't really say that, really, can you? Obviously, I'm a season ticket holder at Newport County. I go to at least 10 to 15 away games a season, and I volunteer my services to the club in many different ways, and I have done for years. For me, that's a diehard fan. Not to blow my own trumpet or anything. That's a diehard fan. You think people will go and watch these big teams because they're bigger teams? Well, they need the support to be as big as that, and they've got their support. They'll have their local support and the catchment area support, and they won't suffer if Joe Bloggs from Cheltenham or what's his name from Northampton stopped going to watch Man United and started going to watch Cheltenham and Northampton. Man United are not going to miss them. I'm not saying that people are not allowed to support whoever they want. I mean, football, that's a good thing about football. It's an open door for anyone, anyway. But the fact is, traditionally, local support is where it's where it all it's in the heart of your community, your people. I mean, the thing that made the promotion for Newport County to the Football League so special is the fact that I was there with my own people. I wasn't there with strangers. You go and watch Man United win the league, it's like, who's he, who's he, who's he? I don't know him. They don't know me. There's no togetherness there. There's no family orientation that you get like what you do with the smaller clubs, because we're all from the same place, when we're supporting our team, not somebody else's team. So tourism, if smaller teams had better support, there's more money for them. Maybe ticket prices can come down. They can subsidise ticket prices. There's people moan about the fact that you can go and watch a Premier League game for just a few quid more. It's like, well, yeah, a cheap seat that someone's flogging because they've already filled 30,000 all around there, so they don't need to make a lot of money from that seat. It's just about filling it. You can't compare that to the pricing for someone's primary income in the lower leagues. Primary income is what they make on the day, whereas up the top it's all about the TV money. They don't. It's second nature that is to them. Whatever comes through the turnstiles, it just gives them an additional boost, and that's it. Their main income is sponsorship as well, TV money and sponsorship, and that's it. For me, the problem is from the top to the bottom in football clubs, from your chairman to the way things work with managers, to the players, and then even to the fans. And we'll get onto that. But then I think the fact that football clubs are operated as a business and not a football club these days, I think there's nothing wrong with setting a football club up with a business model. There's nothing wrong with that. But when a football club becomes a cash cow to someone, you can't allow that. People, if they buy a football club, they can do whatever they want with it. Yes, but should there be rules in place to say that you limit what you can take from a football club? I certainly think there should be something, to stop these people from doing this. Because you look at Charlton, for example. You look at the way Leeds have been run in the past. You look at clubs like Blackpool. They hate their owners because for them it's something for them to make money out of. It's not something that they can get passionate about, which is what people want in a chairman. Someone who's passionate about their football club with the ambition to see that football club move forward. Not, all right, and I'm going to make money from this, I'm going to make money from that, I'm going to make money from this. No, it can't work that way. I think in a way, as much as Leicester, it's so nice to see Leicester doing what they're doing, but traditionally big clubs have monopolised the top spots in La Liga, for example. Barcelona and Real Madrid. I know Atletico Madrid have breached them too, which is great, but they're still a big club. Them three, it's always going to be between them three for the title. Scottish football, the problem with Scottish football, it's always been Celtic or Rangers. It's very rare, even in the past, it was rare that somebody else other than Celtic or Rangers won the league. And to be honest with you, it won't be anyone else other than them two, unless something drastic happens. Like some Iranian billionaire goes and buys Hearts or Hibs or something like that, and just goes out and spends 50 million a season. It's not going to happen in Scottish football, because these people, they can't come and make any money out of Scottish football at the moment. But unless something like that happened, it's always going to be Celtic or Rangers who are going to win the SPL. That's a problem. I think Leicester, what they're doing in the Premier League, is phenomenal, and I really hope they win it. But like I said before that, it was always Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Man City, or Liverpool was always in with a chance, and Tottenham have been sort of in with a chance, but it's always been between them for the last sort of 15 years or so. 20 years really, because ever since Blackburn, it's only ever been Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea or Man City. It's only been one of them four who've won it since Blackburn, and that was 20 years ago. 2 decades of big four monopolisation of the Premier League, which is why it'd be great if Leicester can breach that. But you can understand what I'm saying there, really, can't you? But you start with the chairman. Everything in football is about making money, and the corruption around FIFA and possibly even UEFA, by the looks of it, with Platini's involvement with Blatter. It's too much about how much money people can make. You've got a lot of places offering to pay a lot of money to be involved in football, whether they're broadcasting games or whether they're sponsoring teams' events. There's a lot of money, being pumped into football. It's, what I think for board of directors could be good is to sort of give themselves some type of annual salary for doing their job, rather than taking rather than taking dividends at the end of the year. Give themselves an annual salary, even if it's 100k to 200k each a year. They're making some money. They're doing a job for someone. The thing is, I feel as though the board of directors and the players and the manager, they're working for the fans, whether they want to see it that way or not. Technically, the way I see it is they're working for the fans. If they want to do a job and get paid for doing that job, and not milk the club of its profits, then I think fans would find that acceptable. Would fans find it acceptable for them to give themselves a share of a big player that they've sold? Say for example, Leicester go and sell Jamie Vardy for 30 million, and then their board of directors decide to share that profit between themselves rather than going out and buying a replacement. Technically that's what they do in a way, but when they're giving shareholder dividends out. I think if a football club's a PLC, then I think it's a different. I don't know much about business and things like that, so I can't really comment too much on that. But I think the money coming out of a football club into people's pockets should be limited, in my opinion. Whether it can happen or not, I don't know. Managers, now, I don't think managers themselves are as much of a problem, because they're trying their best to do a job. I think it's difficult. It's a difficult age for managers. The turnover of managers is absolutely ridiculous in this day and age. There's no loyalty for past successes as well. The amount of time someone's got a team promoted into the Premier League and then been sacked because they're in a relegation battle the next year. Like, well, you're just promoted into the Premier League. How can you moan about being in a relegation battle? I mean, I know in times, like Nigel Adkins at Southampton, sacking him possibly could have kept them up. But at the end of the day, if a manager gets you promoted in the Premier League, they should be given the season to keep you up. There's no loyalty. The thing is, no one knows that Nigel Adkins wouldn't have kept Southampton up. No one knows that, and no one ever will. So I think it's bad. I mean, long-term plans are pointless now in this day and age. It's all about going in and getting instant results. You've got to take a gamble to get instant results, rather than laying down a solid plan for the next 5 years. Because if you don't get instant results, you're going to lose your job after a couple of months, and that happens. That really does happen, obviously. So, like I say, results expected so quickly. You can't build anything. So the days of where we produce managers like I don't know, Matt Busby, Bill Shankly, Brian Clough, Alex Ferguson, and even Arsene Wenger, obviously from his earlier years, you can't have a manager like that anymore. You're never going to build something as a manager, because you've got to either get the results straight away and just wing it then, or you're going to just lose your job because you haven't got the results straight away. People shouldn't be. When you get a new manager, you shouldn't be expecting results straight away. It just does me. Anyway, yeah, that's what I think is a problem on manager level. On player level, the big thing I've highlighted is agents. Agents are a poison to the game. So all this is my opinion. If people want to shoot it down by all means. This is just my opinion. Agents are a poison. They make too much money out of players. They make too much money out of transfer deals and whatever else goes on. There's nothing wrong with having representation. If a player needs representation, which I think is an important part of the game today, they need representation. But agents, they engineer transfer moves because they can get a big fee out of it. While things like that exist, you're always going to get things like this happening. I think there's too much money going to both players and agents these days. I've been one to always defend players and the fact that the money that they make is purely because they make that money for their club. So why shouldn't they get their cut? But now the wages are pushing 200, 300 grand a week, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Like back when it was like 40 to 60,000, for a top player. For me, I think that was a fair amount of money, because film actors make millions from a movie. So it's like, well, why should they get paid that much? It's like, well, they're the ones who brought the people to come and watch it, and made the money for the people who made the movie. So if they make that kind of money, they should get their cut. I think the same applies with footballers, but in this day and age, I think footballers are making far too much money, and agents, in turn, are making far too much money. And there's too many bad ones out there. I think there should be some sort of code of conduct for agents. I think the attempting of engineering transfer moves should be outlawed in football. You shouldn't be trying to force your player like Raheem Sterling. I think he'd still be at Liverpool now if it wasn't for his agent. That's my opinion again, but pardon me. I think with players now as well, there's no loyalty with players today. Absolutely none. It's always the highest bidder over the better suited club. Like Newport County, I know we missed out on some transfer targets in the summer. How many of them transfer targets do you think are rotting at clubs because they went for the money and not because it was a good move for them? I reckon there could be a few. And if those players had joined us, for the money we were offering. I mean, we're offering good money. We're still offering League Two wages. There's just some clubs are getting ambitious, especially this season in League Two. They're paying League One wages to players who probably don't deserve it. And, clubs like my club are missing out on decent players. I mean, obviously we're safe from relegation, but that's beside the point. Like I say, the highest bidder over the better suited club. I mean, I think that goes all over the shop. That does. Say for example, now you get one of the better players like Andre Gray from Burnley, for example. Liverpool come in for him, and West Ham go in for him. West Ham would be a fantastic move for someone like Andre Gray. A place where you get the service from players like Payet and Antonio, and Mark Noble, obviously, and he'll thrive there. Andre Gray has been offered 20 grand a week more to play for Liverpool. I think he probably wouldn't get first team football. He wouldn't play every game at Liverpool, and if he did, I don't know. I think a big fish in a little pond, then becoming a small fish in a big pond. I think that Andre Gray move to Liverpool would be a wrong move for him. But because he's getting offered 20 grand a week more, you'll go to Liverpool regardless. Scott Sinclair moved from Swansea to Man City. Career pretty much finished with Steve Sidwell. Went from Reading to Chelsea. Career pretty much finished. Scott Parker managed to rescue his career by joining Tottenham, but he was another one that went to Chelsea. Career finished. Too many players. Jack Rodwell left Everton. Went to, I think it was City he went to, Jack Rodwell. And who's he playing for now? In a relegation battle with Sunderland. So just goes to show that the grass isn't always green on the other side, but because the money's there, do they care? Do they bollocks? No, they don't care. Alright, and then going down onto the fans, like I touched on the fact that the local support is quite non-existent now. Our average home crowd has been just over 2,000. When we used to be 3.5 to 4 when we first got into the Football League. Too many people in Newport, even though there's 150,000 population in Newport. We can't even get the 1% to turn up. What was it, 150,000? No, we're getting 1 to 2% of our population turning up to our games, which I think is a very poor effort from Newport. Although different with us because we lost a generation where we went out of business, but we got a new generation now. There's nothing wrong with keeping the Premier League team that you've been following for years and just showing your local team a bit of love. And I'm sure that applies all over the country. Your local team is there for your community. I'm sure your local team does stuff for your community. So I think it's time you did stuff for your local team. They go and watch 4 or 5 games a season. Buy a shirt. It's not much. Especially when your local team, because of that support, could get promoted to the Premier League one day. Swansea City, Bournemouth, Hull, from League Two up to the top. Even Cardiff have done it as well. So there's no reason why your local team can't do it. If you show them a bit of love and give them a bit of support, people got you got to realise the potential. Like I just mentioned those teams like Bournemouth and Swansea, and there's potential in every Football League club and every non-league club. There's potential there to hit new heights if it's been run correctly. So if the more local people supported that club, better it's going to do, and then in turn it could drive ticket pricing down. So it is more affordable. Because at the moment, while you're only getting 2,000 through the gate, you're going to need to set your ticket prices at £20. If you're getting 4,000 through the gate, you can look to bring it down to 15. You know what I mean? So I think I pretty much touched on everything. I mean, anything anybody else has to add it in the comments just down there. I mean, I'm up for taking in more. If you disagree with anything, that's fine by me. But these are my views, these are my opinions, and all of what I've just said is what I think is wrong with football today. So, cheers for watching, guys, and hopefully one day all these problems go away and football becomes about football and not about money. Fingers crossed. Anyway, cheers for now. Cheerio.